Rodri, come on. Vamos, come on. Come on, Rodri. Oh my God, I think we got Rodri. It's Rodri, it's Rodri. Woo! We got Rodri, Rodrigo. Welcome to the squad. Hey folks, Konami just re-released RODRI'S SHOWTIME Ballon de Oro card. And if you struggled with him the last time, or you're thinking about spinning for him this time, this video's for you. Now, I got him the first time around, and I've had many months to figure him out. He is in my starting 11. And in this video, I'm gonna break down how to play him as a pivot, orchestrator, or even my favorite, as a CB. I'm also going to include a master build that works for all of these roles. And if you stick around to the end, I'll let you know what positional trainers he needs, the booster crafting, and the 5 must-have skills. I'll also be honest with you and give you a recommendation at the end if you should spin for him or not. So we're going to get right into it. Before we start, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so and turn on notifications, and please make sure you're following our free Discord. It is in the video description. All right. First up, I'm going to show you how to use him as a single pivot. Now, since RODRI'S an orchestrator and not an anchorman like Busquets, here's how you can kind of force him into that anchorman role. So in the individual instructions, first of all, use one of the offense options and select defense and go ahead apply that to RODRI. Then choose another offensive individual instruction, and this time you're going to choose anchoring and you're going to apply this to RODRI. This is going to stop him from drifting wide and keep him very central in the pitch. In the third individual instruction that you need to do is now go into defense and add deep line. Make sure you apply that to RODRI. Now, some of you might not like the fact that you have to use 3 individual instructions for him to function as a proper anchorman, but I'll give you one spoiler alert. One of the 5 special skill trainers is trackback. If you already have trackback on him, you don't need to use deep line, so you only have to use 2 individual instructions instead of 3. And that's all you have to do to get him to play like an anchorman. Now, version 2, playing him like an orchestrator. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. It is RODRI'S natural play style. He is an orchestrator. All you got to do is make sure you set him up as a DMF and not a CMF. And the reason I recommend you do this is because if you do set him up as DMF, most players play the best when you play them to their natural play style. And his natural position is a DMF, and he will stay extra deeper if he's set up as a DMF versus a CMF. Now, for the individual instructions, I would not give him anything. This is his most natural form. But once again, if you do not have trackback on him, I would set up 1 individual instructions and give him the deep line. But that's only if you don't have trackback. So just a little tip here, if you want to use him as this second pivot, he works best if you have an actual anchorman next to him, such as Busquets, Patrick Vieira, Gilberto Silva, all the meta anchormans, even the free Tchouaméni. And don't worry about the formation. I know here I'm using a 4-2-1-3, which is really a version of a 4-3-3. You can set up your double pivot however you want it to. Now, version 3. In my opinion, this is the secret meta. So before we get into that, if you're liking this video, please make sure you drop a like. It really helps this video grow and the channel. Now, this is my favorite way to use him. He's actually in my starting 11, and I use him as a center back build-up player. So if you're going to use him as a CB, make sure you give him the positional trainer CB for this to work. I mean, look at these stats. You got 90 tight position. That's insane for a center back. 86 passing, perfect for build-up. He already has the one-touch pass and through passing built into his player skills off the riff. All of his defensive stats are in the 90s. Plus, you have the special fortress skill that really beefs up those defensive stats, even though they're in the early 90s. He also has an 84 with an 81 acceleration. This is, in my opinion, in my experience, more than enough to keep up with the meta strikers. Now, I would say his only weakness here as a CB is the 81 jumping and 81 heading, but the guy is 191 centimeters and he already comes with aerial superiority. In my experience, he's not losing headers. This is by far the most underrated way to use him as a CB. If you go through the top ranks, you will see some of the greatest players in the world do use him as a center back. So if you're not using RODRI like this, I suggest you try that out. out. Works best putting a destroyer. In this case, you can see Puyol right next to him. I consider this a very meta tactic, especially if you're playing possession, but it does work well with long ball counter, quick counter, out wide, all the play styles. I've tested them on everything, which leads to the master build that's gonna work for all the roles, whether you want to use them as a pivot, orchestrator, or a CB. It's all the same build, and that's why I love this build. And notice that when I use them as a CB, I do not use individual instructions, and the build goes as such. I put 2 in the shooting just to get that curl into 70, just in case you're playing them as an orchestrator. I got the passing into 5, dribbling into 8, dexterity 8, lower body 8, aerial 8, and defending 8. We're not wasting any points here, guys. Just a complete midfielder, center back hybrid. And the fact that we didn't have to go past 8 on any threshold, we were really able to save our allocations and never have to use more than 3 points per category. Now, for this build, my recommended booster crafting is agility. This is going to increase his speed, acceleration, and balance. And when you take a look at the build, he's already covered in all other aspects, and I just made sure to cover the little tiny weaknesses he had, which were a little bit on the speed and getting that balance to 70. Everything else is tops. Now, the recommended skills. You already know that I recommended track back. I would say this is probably the most important one, especially if you're going to be using him as a midfielder, as an orchestrator. I also recommend heading to go along with his aerial superiority and to make up for the 81 heading ability. I would also give him the weighted pass, which will go nicely with his one-time pass and his through passing. And I would also recommend gamemanship, because the only weakness he really has is the 70 balance. Some people are going to just try to foul you. You know how the gameplay is. They're going to get away with it. This does reduce the amount of times the referee looks away. It doesn't fix the problem, but it will reduce it. And the final trait that I would give him is acrobatic clearance, especially once you're using him as a CB. And even if you're using him as a pivot, he's going to be dropping low between your 2 center backs, so you're going to want him to have that acrobatic clearance. Now, for my final recommendation, if you already got him the first time and you've struggled with him, this video is perfect for you. Try out the build. You have nothing to lose. Now, if you're stacked with the best orchestrators in the game, the best anchormen, or the best CBs, then I would not recommend this guy, but he's perfect for me. He's got that fortress. To me, he is the most underrated build-up player, even though in real life we know him as an anchorman. And I especially love that he's a multifunctional player. I wouldn't put him up in the same ranks as, say, a Hullet, a Patrick Vieira, or Gilberto Silva type of player, but he is close and he checks all the major boxes for what you really need in a good player. Like I said, I have him in my starting 11. I don't ever have issues with him unless there's some scripting going on. You know how it is when you're playing football. But I've taken this guy against some of the top players in the world, no problem, especially as a center back build-up player. A special shout out to all the members. We are growing, my friends. Now, if you want to help this small channel survive and continue to grow, please consider becoming a member. It's the best way to keep this channel stable. Now, in the lower left-hand corner, you can catch the other review cards. There's still time for that Paul Kubarsi, so highly recommend you watch that video in that playlist, especially if you don't spin for this Rodri. On the lower right, you could catch me in action with these players in live streams where we have built a really wonderful community. I hope to see you there in the next one, and take care.